श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की, गंगा मैया की, यमुना देवी की, भक्ति देवी की, तुलसी देवी की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तन की, श्री अद्वैता आचार्य अपीयरेंस डे की, श्री अद्वैता आचार्य अपीयरेंस डे की, श्री अद्वैता आचार्य अपीयरेंस डे की, श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Thank you very much, Madhva Charan Prabhu. Now we will have class by His Grace Radha Krishna Prabhu, followed by Pushpanjali at 8:20, and Prasadam will be at 8:30. And if anyone wants to sponsor today's program, please feel free to contact Raghava Chaitanya Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Okay. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Shri Radha Nilama. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming to today's nice festival, evening festival. Today is the holy appearance day of Sri Advaita Acharya. Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu Ki Jai. Where's the kirtan coming from? Huh? Oh. Srila Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that in the Vayu Purana, there's a description of one of the Vaikuntha planets, and there is a personality called Sadasiva in the Vaikuntha planet. So, often there's been a misnomer in the understanding of who Sadasiva is. So this personality is in the Vaikuntha region. He is a Vishnu Tattva. So it is this Vishnu Tattva who actually advanced as Advaita Acarya. Of course, within the, if you understand the creation from the Shankarshan, Mahashankarshan, then you have the Chaturvyuhas, and then in the second Shankarshan there's an expansion who comes into this material region, and that is Mahavishnu. It is said that this Sadashiva is also an expansion of this Mahavishnu. So in that sense, Advaita Acharya is both Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. Now from this Sadashiva, there's an expansion, and he's a partial expansion, and he is actually Shiva. Okay. So that is a good thing to know. Right? Sometimes we say Lord Shiva is a combination, Advaita Acharya is a combination of Shiva and Mahavishnu. A lot of times devotees say that, but actually it's not like that. Because Advaita Acharya is Vishnu Tattva, Bhakta-avatara. Okay? He's not Jiva or he's not Shiva Tattva. So please don't get that confused. There's a difference. So there is a personality called Sadashiva in the Vaikuntha, and then he expands. And part of his expansion is Shiva. Okay? So sometimes people call Shiva Sadashiva. So that's where the confusion happens. Okay? He is known as Advaita because he is not different from Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's not different. That's why he's called Advaita. So that's important. This morning we had a very nice discussion by Saranga Thakur Prabhu with a few devotees. And if you want to know more technical information, you can listen to that. I'll just touch a few things that are important. Now, if you want to understand clearly about Advaita Acharya, then you have to understand from the time of creation, actually. That's what is explained. As I mentioned, Lord Mahavishnu, he is in the causal ocean, and then he understands the needs of the living entity. They want to come here, they want to enjoy, and in wanting to enjoy, they actually suffer. They don't understand that they cannot enjoy independent of Krishna. So when Mahavishnu glances, that potency is Shambhu. Okay, that Shambhu is different. Okay, so please try to understand. And he helps to carry the jivas who are spirit souls into the material Mahatattva region. So he is the via media actually. So he helps in that process of carrying them together with Rama Devi and Kala Shakti, time element. And then they come into Pradhan, and then when contact with Pradhan, Pradhan gets agitated and it becomes Mahatattva. And then they combine, and the three modes of material nature starts manifesting. And with the desires of the living entities, the false ego manifests, and then subsequently everything takes shape. And that's how we get our eyes, nose, ears, based on the false ego and the gunas. Three gunas, like that. So this region between the material universe or the Mahatattva and the spiritual region, there's a portion, and that portion is called Viraja River. Sometimes you will read it's called Viraj River. But at other times you'll also hear the word Karana. Okay, it's also known as the Karana Ocean. There's no difference between Viraj River and Karana Ocean. So when Mahavishnu lies on that ocean, he is called Karano Dakashayi Vishnu. Shayi means lying. So Karana Dakashayi Vishnu is that. Now, so in between that, beyond the Viraj River is what? Vaikuntha. Okay. On the other side of Viraj River is the material realm. So in between there is the region where on the Vaikuntha side is Sadashiva's abode, and on the opposite side it's called Mahakala, and that's where Lord Shiva resides also. And there's also another personality, Mahakala Ishwar also. So you can get very technical also, but just wanted to tell you these personalities do exist, and they are all thinking of us, worrying about us. Okay. So the basic understanding is Advaita Acharya is actually Sadashiva expansion, an expansion of Sadashiva, and he is what? He is Vishnu Tattva. Okay, that's very important to know. And he is actually an expansion of Mahavishnu also. Okay. Now, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will read in the Adi Leela, in the Adi Leela chapter 13 there, chapter 6. There, Advaita Acharya, he actually says, I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya. Servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya and a servant of his servants. Because you have to understand who is Lord Advaita. He is an expansion of Sadashiva, right? And Mahavishnu. And who is Mahavishnu expansion of? All the way, Sankarshan, all the way back to? No, Balaram. Okay. And what's his Balaram's mood? Service. Therefore, you'll find all the expansions have only one thing in common. They want to serve. So Advaita Acharya is showing us also how he is serving. It's very interesting. If you follow everything, you think they are so powerful and they are manifesting, but actually they are doing it to serve. And they are serving who? Krishna. They are serving Krishna. For Krishna's pleasure, for his pastime purposes. So therefore you find this very fascinating if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and you'll understand this wonderful sentiment they all have. And we are all what energy of Krishna? Tatastha. Okay, Tatastha means marginal, not here, not there. So when we get closer to spiritual nature, we become spiritual. We come closer to material nature, we become overwhelmed with material nature. So that is also an important thing to know, because then we can understand why we are not able to pursue spiritual activities in great strength or desire. Because if we expose ourselves too much to material things, then we become overwhelmed with material energy. And we are not able to perform spiritual activities with great determination. It doesn't manifest. Okay? You can do what you want, but you cannot manifest that. So again, understand the emotion of the devotee is present in all the incarnations. And we are part and parcel of Krishna. So we also have that sentiment of service. It's only a question of fanning it. Okay? How do you fan it? Through devotee association. It's not going to manifest otherwise. So in this Adi Leela, Advaita Acarya, he declares, and emphatically he declares that I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya. So then he's thinking, I am his devotee. And here we are, we dare not say it publicly or anywhere, we don't want to admit. We are always thinking, I am the controller. I am controlling. But then we find we can't control our headaches. All right? It's a simple thing. How you can't control. The other day, who was it? Nilamadava and his son was doing this, and then Nilamadava said, my son can't control, he has to go to the bathroom. That was cute. But that's how we are. We can't control, actually. So anyway, Advaita Acharya, you can see the nice picture on the screen. He was born in, we say born, but actually invented in 1434. And it is said he's about 50 odd years older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 50 odd years, yeah. So when Mahaprabhu was born, he was 50 years old already, yeah. His father's name is Kuvera Pandit. Okay, so, and this Kuvera Pandit is actually the demigod Kuvera. It's amazing, no? You get the blessings. Kuvera is also an associate of who? Yes, Lord Shiva. In Kuvera's abode, he has a special place where Lord Shiva comes and stays with him, and that's also called Kailash. So he's very special, Kuvera. Okay. And his wife name is Sri Naba. Yeah. She is actually the Yoga Maya potency. So now you can understand these are not ordinary people. Yeah. When you look at our own history and so, it's like somebody, not some expansion. Expansion is some mental cases probably, right? And most of us have problems. So, when Sri Advaita Acharya was born, he was so beautiful. Yeah, and he had beautiful lotus eyes, so much so his parents gave him the name Kamala Aksha. Kamala means lotus, Aksha means it's Kamala Aksha. Right? I don't know whether you can see it in the pictures or not, but yeah, Kamala Aksha. So one day, his father, Kuvera Pandit, took him to the local king's palace. And the king was a worshipper of Durga. And so while they were worshipping, the king came to Kuvera Pandit and said, please, take darshan. So he went there, he paid obeisance. But the little boy, he was like 5 years old, Kamalaksha, he just stood there and looked. His father said, pay obeisance, right? Generally, you see kids are coming, the parents say pay and they would do, but he refused to do it. And then the king looked at the father and said, what is this, your son? He's a demon. He's an atheist. So then the father was a bit tense, so he gets down to his son and say, you should pay obeisance. Then the boy said, Daddy, if I do that, the statue will splinter. The king heard it explode. The king heard it and said, what is he talking about? So the father was saying, no, you should pay obeisance, otherwise the king gets really disturbed. So the little boy said, okay. So he pays obeisance, and then like an atomic bomb, boom, the entire Durga statue exploded. And then the king's mouth fell. Say, better be careful, this guy is something else. Yeah, so this is how it is. He was, because the relationship between Durga and him is that Durga pays obeisance to him, not the other way around. And if it happens the other way around, then it's an offense. So that's what happened here. So the king was thinking, who is this guy? The father was also thinking, who is this? My son is so powerful, So later on, when his parents anyway, passed on, he went on pilgrimage to Gaya and so on. Then finally he came to Vrindavan and he became absorbed in the worship of Krishna, very much absorbed in Krishna. At that place he discovered in Vrindavan Madan Mohan, deities. He was the one who discovered it, and later he gave it in the care of a person called Chobi Brahmana. And then he went on his pilgrimage tour. And this deity was later taken over by Sanatan Goswami. Yeah. It's amazing, no? If you think about it, you go and see Madan Mohan in Vrindavan, then you know the Acaryas, everybody has worshipped those deities. Yeah. Advaita Acharya had two wives. One was named Shri, and the other one was Sita. Yeah, you all should know that, Sita. So Shri had one son, and Sita had 6. Yeah, and of the 6, 3 of them became devotees, and 3 rejected Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So again, you can wonder, what is this? Advaita Acharya is Supreme Person, and his kids are like that. So you can also reflect in your own lives and your own children and so on. You can see it can happen. You can be very much into Krishna consciousness, and if your children are not exposed properly or they misunderstand, they will not have the interest, or they will reject. Or if they don't have good association, they will say this is all made up, imagination. Yeah. So it's like that. Yeah. He took initiation from Madhavendra Puri. Okay, Madhavendra Puri is the beginning, as if you had heard this morning's class. He's the root, he's the origin of the devotion, pure devotional sentiments, prema bhakti. He's the first one to manifest that. In his heart, he could experience all the different rasas. He was feeling it and he wanted to give, and he couldn't find anyone qualified. But he met Madhavendra Puri, and Ishvara, Advaita Acharya, and then he said, this boy is qualified. And so later on he initiates him. Not only did he initiate Advaita Acharya, he also initiated Ishvara Puri, who is the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also initiated Lord Nityananda. Yeah. So he took initiation for Sri Madhavendra Puri. Yeah. Then after that, when he took initiation, he became more and more absorbed in Krishna. He was actually exhibiting prema bhakti already. In exhibiting this love of God, at the same time he became very compassionate. That's one of the things. As you make advancement, automatically you will also become compassionate to other living entities. So he saw the people in the world, or rather wherever he went, there was suffering and there was no God consciousness. And he was feeling great distress, personal distress. Paradukha dukhi. They feel that like that when When you are a devotee, you'll feel like that for others. You're thinking, why are they suffering? And so you'll make endeavors to give it to them. So he tried in different ways to attract the people. But they were not interested. And after when he took initiation, then he started to teach Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And then everyone started coming. Then he realized, this connection with Madhavendra Puri is very important. So there's another lesson to learn. To be good preachers, we have to be connected in the Guru Parampara. And then there will be, the impact is there. You will feel it. And the other person hearing will hear, not you, but they are hearing the Guru Parampara. Because you are via media, and you are representing in true form. Right? The entire parampara is behind you, waiting to help. So you have to take that help. So he's seeing all these materialistically conditioned people and he's pained in his heart. So he's thinking, how can I help these people? Because only a few people were coming, even though, right? Just like we have classes or we have this, how many people normally come, right? So in the same way, he was pained in his heart. But in any case, he was contemplating how to help these people. How can I make sure that their lives become successful? And so he contemplated and then he understood, because he's very well read, so he knows, according to Shastra, how the personality who can actually help all of them is, he felt very strongly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Sri Krishna himself. And then he was thinking, how can I attract Krishna himself? Because it's not easy, right? So then he was reading one of the in the Purana, and in that Purana he saw this particular verse. It's in Adi Leela, chapter 3, text 104, and this morning also Krishna Kripa Prabhu chanted that verse. Tulasi-dala matrena jalasya chulukena va vikrinite swamatmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsalaha. Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers him merely a tulasi leaf and a palmful of water. So Advaita Acharya, then he recognized this. He knew, okay, this is important. He knew Krishna will become indebted to anyone who offers him tulasi and jala, water. Yeah. So then he was thinking, if I could do that, then I'll convince him. And definitely he will descend. He was convinced. So that's a very important thing to understand. It was made by, a point made by this morning also, that we should have faith in, Samant Prabhu was saying, we should have faith in the scriptures. When you're reading statements in scripture, don't think, oh, this is just something, it's for them, not for me. So just like you chant Hare Krishna, they'll sing, it's for those people, not for me. No, it's for everyone. So he put so much emphasis on this. So he started to chant. And he started to worship the Lord. And he started to worship, not just, do the puja and that's it. He started to call out, loudly calling out. Loudly calling out, Not just calling, he also started to cry. Because he's feeling a lot of pain for the people. So he genuinely was feeling the pain and he was crying and calling out to the Supreme Lord. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava. He was calling out. Just like Draupadi, right? Finally she gave up and said, hey Krishna, hey Yadava, help me. So the same mood. So you can see in all those people who are successful, they are convinced in their heart and they call out. They don't just call out like, hey, it's not like that. They call out because they really want. They really want Krishna. They want, please, I'm suffering. So he felt so much pain for the ordinary living entities. And he's like, I can't handle this, I need help. Can he deliver the whole world, Advaita Acharya? Yes, but he thought, these people are so fallen. I need help. Just imagine, the Supreme Lord is feeling like that, so he's calling the personality of Godhead. It's just far out if you think about it. So he used to cry and call out. And the place where he was doing it, the place is known as Babla. And it's very close to the Shantipur railway station. It's closer to his home also, because that's where Advaita Acharya grew up, in Shantipur. Yeah? And he cried. And he did it crying out for 8 months. Daily. He would do this and cry out. How many times we cry out to Krishna? Maybe one time? For one moment? Right? And then after that, sayonara. See you tomorrow. So it said that for 8 months he was crying like that. And then he understood the Lord had descended. Yeah. On the 13th month, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes birth in Mayapur. He is in Shantipur. And in Mayapur he takes birth, or Navadvip. So as soon as the Lord comes during the eclipse, Advaita Acharya dances crazily, and people are thinking, oh, what is wrong with Advaita Acharya today? He's jumping and dancing. And then Haridas Thakur comes and he sees Advaita Acharya dancing. So he also starts chanting there, jumping and dancing. And then they say, 2 guys are crazy here. But because they understood. When you are pure in your consciousness, the Lord allows you to know. You will know in your heart. So he felt the advent of the Lord has happened. And so the next day, his good wife, which one? Sita. Okay, Sita goes to Mayapur to give the blessing to the little boy. And she actually names him Nimai, because Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata live in a house. In those days, in those times, people grow good trees, They actually plant good trees. Now people want to grow trees that don't shed leaves, no flowers, no fruits, easy maintenance, but useless. Yeah. So, but those days they planted Nim tree. Yeah? So the Nim tree grew. Underneath was Jagannath Mishra's house. So she was, when she saw that, she blessed the child, and then she gave the child the name Nimai. So you can also give your child the name, but then there's no trees, Mostly there's lamp posts, telegraph posts, right? Anyway, being devotees, you should always name your children with devotional names. Then at least you can chant at the time of that, like Ajamil. Yeah. At least like Ajamil. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So remember, Advaita Acharya always considered himself to be the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when he saw the child, he's like, yeah, this boy, Yeah, but of course, the pastime purposes, you see how in the early days, Nimai was not interested. He just was a logician, too intelligent, you know. But anyway, later on, when Ishvara Puri secretly comes to Mayapur, Navadvip, at that time Advaita Acarya hosts him, and then Nimai would come, and he invites also Ishvara Puri, and then he is fascinated by Ishvara Puri's intellect and devotion, and the pastime eventually he takes initiation from Ishvara Puri. And that from that point onwards, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifests his devotional sentiments very strongly. So when Mahaprabhu started to preach as a sannyas, when he took sannyas and then started preaching, he always respected Advaita Acharya. Always. Because why? Because he is his spiritual master's god brother. Yeah. So he was always very respectful. But what was the mood of Acharya? Servant. So he's thinking, why he's not treating me like a servant? So then he devised a plan. Yeah. So just imagine they are age different. He's around 70, 74, 75 years old. And Nimai is around 25 years, around there. And he's trying to be his servant. So he devised a plan. He was thinking how I get Nimai to be, Mahaprabhu to chastise me. He's chastising everyone, he's not chastising me. He doesn't think of me as his servant. He's thinking I'm his master. This is not acceptable. I cannot accept this. So then he starts, what he does is, he finds some local people who are not so intelligent. And he starts to preach about Mayavadi philosophy. So he says, everything is one, you are one and I'm one. So the news goes to Mahaprabhu. So this is happening in Shantipur. So the news goes all the way to Mayapur. So Mahaprabhu gets angry, he rushes all the way. And then he comes to the home and Sita is seeing, she says, what's happening? And then he pushes, and he doesn't push her. Anyway, he opens the door, goes in, and he says, where is Acharya? And then he sees it, and he starts beating him up, really beating up. And then Acharya comes out, and then he keeps beating up, jumping on him and beating up. And Sita is thinking he's going to die, the way... and then around there, Nityananda is there, Nityananda is just laughing. Yeah, he's Avadut. So when he was beating him and so on, Sita is going to Nityananda and say, please protect my husband. He didn't do anything. What can we do, So then Mahaprabhu says, this man, I was peacefully resting in the milk ocean. This guy, he made so much noise and he forced me to come here. Now I have to do all this, and he is now talking nonsense. He showed his real form. He's a rascal. And then at that time, Advaita Acharya jumps up, he dances. Everybody's watching, what's wrong with this guy? If we do like this, people will say we are all crazy. But, yeah, that's right. So Mahaprabhu was watching, and Advaita Acharya is jumping and dancing, and actually when you become Krishna conscious, you become crazy for love, of the Lord. So he was so happy, and he started clapping, dancing, 75-year-old man, dancing and jumping. And then he said, I wanted this, I wanted you to chastise me, because you are my Lord, I am your servant, like that. And the Mahaprabhu smiles a little bit, and then he feels bad, because he actually hit him so much, So he hugs him, and then he says, from today onwards, anyone who takes shelter of Advaita, even if it's an insect, a worm, they will be liberated. Yeah. He said, I will personally come and give them the blessings. Yeah. So this today is Advaita Acharya's appearance day. Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki. So you should pray to Advaita Acharya and say, you give me this mercy. Of course, to approach Advaita Acharya, you must approach. Devotees, Vaishnavas, spiritual master, like that. Do service. Vaishnava seva is very important. So that's very important. So, Advaita Acharya is also very careful with traditions. So, one day he was observing this Shraddha ceremony. So then he was, offering foodstuff to the Supreme Lord, and then after that, he cooks the Lord. So the Brahmanas, local Brahmanas, are all waiting outside, Guess for what? Feast. So he made a big feast, and then they were like, big Brahmanas all waiting and talking outside, So generally the custom is the prasad is offered to the most prominent person, most learned person, senior in age and highly respected, like that. So thousands of high-class Brahmanas were outside waiting, because Advaita, when he gives a feast, it is a feast. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So they were waiting, thinking he's going to call one of us. So they're all sizing each other, So finally, Advaita Acharya comes out, and then immediately he goes and calls Haridas Thakur. Yeah. Haridas Thakur. And then he pulls him, and then he gives him a seat of honor in front of all the Brahmanas. And the Brahmanas are all very unhappy. Haridas Thakur is saying, why are you forcing me? You have so many qualified Brahmanas, why aren't you not honoring them, feeding them? He said, no, you are most qualified, and so I'm honoring you. So Haridas Thakur became very ashamed to accept the offering. What happens? He starts crying. It's like, why me, So then Acharya keeps telling him, you have to do this. I consider you very advanced, and you please kindly honor. So then to respect Advaita Acharya, he starts taking. He says, I'm only doing it to please you. Then the Brahmanas became very unhappy. They are thinking, what silly thing is going on here? Advaita Acharya has become mad. And we all know he is mad. Mad in love of Krishna. So then he says, he has no intelligence. Look, he has taken a Muslim person who eats cow and he is honoring him. He is mad. And they looked at him and said, Advaita Acharya, if you continue to act like that, we are rejecting you. We don't want you. We will expel you from the Brahman caste. Acharya said, that is fine, you can reject me, you can go. So all the Brahmanas said, yes, we will go. And so they all started going, And then when they were walking, they were thinking, no, actually, this is not right. Yeah. Acharya is a very advanced person. And why are we thinking like that? So they all came back and say, Acharya, you are right and we are wrong. Please forgive us. At that moment, then Advaita Acharya said, Naham vipranacha narapati vaishyana sudranam varninacha agripati namarasa yatirva kintu pradyanakila paramananda punamta gopir bhartupada kamalayo dasa anudasa dasa. So he's saying that a Vaishnava doesn't think like that. I'm not sannyasi, I'm not grihastha, brahmana, this, that, anything in your mind. We are not any of these things. We are dasa, dasa, anudas. And I'm also acting in that platform. I'm serving someone who's qualified. So all the brahmanas were, yes, you are right. They're all like, yes, yes. So in the same mood, as Advaita Acharya, we should also reflect dasa anudasa. We should also be serving. We should never take service. If at all possible, don't take service, because it will be your ruination, your spiritual life. Unless you are very powerful, you can burn the karma and the reactions, don't take service. So be careful. So then Advaita Acharya then said that the best thing to do is to chant and remember Krishna's holy names. He says, I think that in this whole universe that there's no one more qualified to receive this offering than Haridas Thakur. Therefore I've invited him. If you like, you can go. No harm. Of course, they were not going to go. Yeah. Then another pastime was, Nityananda was telling Haridas Thakur one time, he said, you know what, this in Navadip, we have to make Mahaprabhu's name all over this place. Everyone should recognize Mahaprabhu's name. So then then Nityananda was thinking, the best thing to do is to convert these two ruffians, rascals, right? Jagai and Madai. And so Haridas Thakur says, what are you talking about? Leave them alone, they're crazy buggers, They say, no, we will go. You just follow. So then Haridas Thakur just followed him. So of course when they go, the two drunken brothers take sticks and so on to beat them, so they start running, This has happened a few times before finally they get injured. So when they ran so fast, and then they came across Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Acharya said, why are you guys running like that? So then Thakur Haridas said, this guy, Nityananda, he brought me to that two crazy drunkards, Jagai and Madai. And then immediately Advaita Acharya says, this Nityananda, he is himself a drunkard. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is also another drunkard. And then what happens? Jagai, Madai, Nitya and Chaitanya, the four drunkards will sit and drink, you will see. And then when he said that, Haridas Thakur recognized it already. He said, oh, so they are going to get delivered. So in this way, Advaita Acharya will always crack jokes and tease Nityananda. They always will fight like that. Sometimes they will be eating prasadam together. And in eating prasadam, they start fighting. They throw the prasadam at each other. Right? You're not supposed to do that. But they are, it's transcendental, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it was like that. So finally, when they were, so when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, at the age of 24 years, he didn't tell he told his mother he's leaving, and he came and took sannyas. Of course, they shaved his beautiful locks. There is a, Shivaram Maharaj wrote that book. What is that? Na Pare Maham. Yeah, in there's a beautiful description of him taking sannyas and how when they were shaving Mahaprabhu, how people start crying just to see him lose his beautiful locks. So in any case, he takes his sannyas and then he's always experiencing ecstasy. So he says, I'm going to Vrindavan now, after he takes his sannyas. So Nityananda follows and then he tells Chandrasekhar Acharya and Mukunda to, follow him in case something happens, So some of the cowherd boys, local cowherd boys came and then they started to join with the procession. Mahaprabhu is dancing and singing. So Nityananda said, you go and dance and sing with him, but take him to the Ganga. Don't take him anywhere else, He wants to go to Vrindavan. So the boys lead him. If he asks where's Vrindavan, take him to Ganga. So anyway, they take him to the Ganga, and when they come to Ganga, then they say, this is Yamuna. So Mahaprabhu is like, oh, this is Yamuna. At the same time, Nityananda told Advaita, you come with your boat. Right? So he comes with his boat at that time. So Mahaprabhu takes bath so wonderfully. And then when the boat comes, Mahaprabhu looks at Advaita and says, I am in Vrindavan, what you doing here? So Advaita says, you come up to the boat. He comes into the boat, then he explains the rivers, Yamuna and Ganga, actually meet at Triveni, and then they flow side by side. So he says, on this side is Yamuna, and on the other side is Ganga. So you took bath in Yamuna. So and wherever you are is Vrindavan. So like that, there were many beautiful pastimes of Advaita Acharya, and also with Mahaprabhu and the different devotees. I see it's getting there, time, so I'll stop here. If there's anyone you want to add anything else, you can, or we can finish here, right? Shri Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanandi.
Hare Krishna. Now we will do a Pushpanjali and followed by Prasadam after Pushpanjali. Thank you very much. Sorry, we will do Aarti along with the Pushpanjali. Thank you. Hare Krishna. If anyone want to sponsor today's program, please you can contact Saranga Prabhu. Sponsorship for today's program is $351. Thank you. We don't have any sponsorship for the today program. If anyone want to sponsor, please come forward and you can contact Saranga Prabhu. Thank you.
We will be singing a very special bhajan today by Narottam Das Thakur. It will be on the screen during the Aarati. So please pay great attention. There will be glorification of Advaita Acharya in the song also. Okay? Yes, yes, yes.
Prabhu, why don't you sing? Huh? Why don't you sing Sri Krishna?
You want me to sing? Okay, come. Let me sing. Do you want me to? What can I do? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki. Shri Advaita Acharya Appearance Day ki. Jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Toma bina के दयालु जगत संसारे तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे पतित पावना हेतु तव अवतार पतित पावना हेतु तब अवतार मौसमा पतिता प्रभु न पाई बेआर मौसमा पतिता प्रभु न पाई बेआर आह प्रभु नितानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी आह प्रभु नितानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी कृपा बालकाना करो आमी बड़ दुखी आमी बड़ दुखी दया करो सीतापति अद्वैत गोसाई 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 तव कृपा बोले पाई चैतन्य निताय तब कृपा बोले पाई चैतन्य निताय आहा स्वरूप सनातनम रूप रघुनाथ बट जुग श्री वह प्रभु लोकनाथ दया करो सियाचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास रामचंद्र संग मागे नरोत्तम दास हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Advaita Acarya, Advaita Acarya, Advaita Acarya, Jaya Advaita Acarya. Advaita Jaya Advaita, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radha, Giridhari Radha, Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai, Gaura Chandra Gaura Hari. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gaur Premanandi. Jaya Om Nitya Lila Pravishto Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parirajagacharya Stotra Sata Izibangre Silabe Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishto Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parirajagacharya Stotra Sata Izibangre Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की, श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ, श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ सदगोसाई प्रभु की जय। प्रेम से गो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री अद्वैत आचार्य प्रभु की, श्री अद्वैत आचार्य अपीयरेंस डे की, गंगा मैया की, यमुना देवी की, भक्ति देवी की, तुलसी देवी की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तन की, श्री निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. Prasadam will be served here, the deity kitchen. So it's not in the Gauranga hall, but over here in the deity kitchen. And anyone want to sponsor for today's feast, please contact Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu or Saranga Thakur. Today's feast is being sponsored by Risikendra Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
चंद्र कलश बनमाल वंशी आलोल चंद्र कलश बनमाल वंशी रत्नांगदं प्रणय केली कनाविलासम आलोल चंद्र कलश आलूलचन्द्रकलश वनमाल्यवंशी रत्नाङ्गदं प्रणयकेली कलापिलासम् श्यामं त्रिभङ्गललितं नियतप्रकाशम् श्यामं त्रिभङ्गललितं नियतप्रकाशम् गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि श्यामं त्रिभङ्गललितं नियतप्रकाशम् गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि चिन्तामणि सुरभीरविपालयन्तं चिन्तामणि प्रकरसद्मसु कल्पवृक्षाय लक्षामृतेषु सुरभीरविपालयन् आलोलचन्द्रकलश वनमाल्यवंशी आलोलचन्द्रकलश वनमाल्यवंशी रत्नाङ्गदं प्रणयकेली कलाविलासम् आलोलचन्द्रकलश वनमाल्यवंशी प्रणयकेली कलाविलासम् श्यामं त्रिभङ्गललितं नियतप्रकाशम् श्यामं त्रिभङ्गललितं नियतप्रकाशम् गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि चिन्तामणि कल्पवृक्षनखावृतेषु सुरभीरविपालयन्तं चिन्तामणि लखावृतेषु सुरभीरविपालयन्तं वेदं कन्नन्तं अरविन्ददलायताक्षं मृहावतं समसितां बुधसुन्दराङ्गम् वेणुं कन्नन्तं अरविन्ददलायताक्षं मृहावतं समसितां बुधसुन्दराङ्गम् गन्धर्वकोटिकमणीय विशेषशोभं गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि चिन्तामणि प्रकरसद्मसु कल्पवृक्षलख्यावृतेषु सुरभीरविपालयन्तम् अङ्गानि यस्य सकलेन्द्रियवेत्तिमन्ति पश्यन्ति पान्ति कलयन्ति चिरं जगन्ति सकलेन्द्रियवृत्तिमन्ति पश्यन्ति पान्ति कलयन्ति चिरं जगन्ति आनन्दचिन्मय सदुज्जलविग्रह आनन्दचिन्मय सदुज्जलविग्रह गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि चिन्तामणि प्रकरसद्मषु कल्पवृक्षलक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तम् वेदं कन्नन्तं अरविन्ददलायताक्षं वरहावतं समसितं बुधसुन्दराङ्गं वेदं कन्नन्तं अरविन्दाक्षं वरहावतं समसितं बुधसुन्दराङ्गं कन्दर्पकोटिकमणीय विशेषशोभं गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि कन्दर्पकोटिकमणीय विशेषशोभं गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि चिन्तामणि प्रकरसद्मषु कल्पवृक्षलक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तम् चिन्तामणि प्रकरसद्मषु कल्पवृक्षलक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तम् लक्ष्मीसहस्रशत सम्भ्रमसेवमानं गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि चिन्तामणि प्रकरसद्मषु कल्पवृक्षलक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तम् कर আমি দয়া কর মরে তুমি বিনা কে দয়াল জগৎ মাঝারে দয়া কর সীতাপতি দয়া কর সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গসাই কৃপা বলে পাই তব কৃপা বলে দয়া কর সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গসাই তব পাবলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই দয়াকার সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গসাই তব পাবলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই সনাতনা নরোত্তরা আহা স্বরূপ সনাতনা রূপ রঘুনা যুগ শ্রী জীব প্রভু লোক দয়া কর শ্রী আচার্য শ্রীনিবা রাম চন্দ্র সঙ্গ মাগে দয়া কর শ্রী আচার্য প্রভু শ্রীনিবা রাম চন্দ্র সঙ্গ মাগে
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
अष्टोत्तर शतश्रीमान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप धाम की जय। स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। और ग्लोरी टू द असम्बली, और ग्लोरी टू द असम्बली, और ग्लोरी टू द असम्बली।